I'm going to start with this one. So this one is coming from the subreddit Ghost Stories. It was posted 25 days ago. The username is Prior Perception 166 with a couple underscores in there. We leave all the links down below. So if you guys want to explore these stories on Reddit and read them for yourselves and read all the comments and everything else, all the links are just down below. Just find the one for this story. And so the title is It's Spooky Season. Give me a real life experience that scared the shit out of you. And then OP goes on to make his own post underneath this title. So this is OP's story. I have several, but growing up, my dad's house was haunted and still to this day freaks me out. So I was maybe 16 or 17 and had stayed at my aunt's house, my dad's sister, and she lived 2 doors down from my dad's. Well, her grandchildren, my cousins, decided to have a sleepover at her house. The next morning, I get up and it's dreary outside, but it's also winter, and I look at my oldest cousin and tell him I'm going to walk to the house and change my clothes so that we can go outside and do whatever. We usually play ball in the graveyard across the road. He says okay, and I head to the house. As I get to the driveway, I see someone standing in the front of the balcony doors inside the house. And then I stop walking because no one is supposed to be home. My dad and stepmom are both at work. So then the person disappears, like they just stepped back to where I couldn't see them anymore. I remember the person was the shape of a woman who had on this long white gown and dark hair. So now my anxiety is through the roof. I see my cousin start to head my way, and I keep walking towards the house because I thought by the time I get the door unlocked, he'll be here and it'll be all good. Psych! We had a golden retriever outside, and when I opened the door, I called for her to come inside with me. But when she got to the door, she tucked her tail between her legs and wouldn't go in any further. So that freaked me out. I grabbed her by her collar to try and gently tug her and tell her to come in the house that it's cold. She fought me and eventually ran down the stairs. My cousin is now at the end of the driveway and yells for me to hurry up, and I am tempted to say fuck it and stay in my pajamas. But I leave the door open and run in my room thinking if the door is open, I'm good. So I run through the kitchen, into the dining room, then the living room, and then the hallway to my room on the far right. I could have just went through the kitchen and the den to get to my room, but the den always creeps me out. So I get to my room and I strip off my pajamas as fast as I can, and I put on some jeans and I grab a long sleeve shirt. As I'm putting the shirt on, I hear running down the hallway with loud footsteps coming towards me. And I go to scream, but nothing comes out. So I go running out of my room and back the way I came. I have my shirt halfway on by the time I run outside. My cousin is now under the carport and asks me what's wrong. I tell him something is in my house, and he's like, what do you mean? So I finish getting my shirt on and I go to turn around to close the door and freeze. He asks what's wrong. I point to the kitchen window, which is beside the door. And through the kitchen window, you can see not only the kitchen, but the den too. And the den light was on. I look back at him and I tell him that I never turn that on because I never go in there. So he starts getting freaked out and stands beside me on the step. The running came again towards us and he clears the steps. So I'm standing there feeling like I'm frozen and not being able to move. I remember him telling me to come on and I tell him that I have to turn off the light because my stepmom will literally cuss me out since she was kind of abusive. So I run inside and I have him watch me as I go and I hit the light switch. And I see a dark figure on the wall in front of me and then it disappears. I run out of the house and I slam the door. I try to tell my stepmom, but she thought I was crazy and none of that stuff was real. So to this day, hearing running in horror movies from ghosts where it's loud and stuff causes the hair on my body to stand up.
I don't like it. The noise, that's what it reminded me of, like a scary movie of like just a dark hallway and like running, not footsteps, running is terrifying.
Oh my God, that's the worst. Like something's coming after you.
Terrifying.
Fuck no.
If I was a mom or whatever, if someone came to me and was like, this happened to me, I would believe them 100%. I believe this stuff.
I wonder how many ghost stories like Madison and Kat would have because we lived on like a horse farm with dark, scary woods.
We need to ask
big,
them.
spooky house. For Halloween, since my birthday is on Christmas, my parents would always throw me a Halloween party. And everybody used to love it. I remember my parents did it up until like grade 8 or something like that. But we would have the walking trails through the woods and they would set it up with like a Halloween theme. My dad would dress up with like a Jason mask. He'd take the blade off the chainsaw and then he would chase us with the chainsaw like around the corner.
That's awesome.
They would put like a old mattress and then they would put like cobwebs on top of the mattress. So like you're walking and then you think you're sinking and then it's like cobwebby. And then there'd be like candy all along the trail. So like everybody would have a bucket and you try to like grab what candy you could while you're getting the shit scared out of you as you're like walking along. And then my mom and dad they would tell ghost stories and everything. They loved Halloween. Yeah, it was spooky.
I love that. That must have like made your childhood.
Yeah. So one of the top comments on this thread is another story.
Okay.